members and upstairs council conference room for a briefing to discuss tonight's agenda. Now here at 5:30, we're moved here to the first floor chambers to conduct the council business meeting in person. And because we encourage community involvement, we invite the public to join us in person or participate via remote option through Zoom or on BCAT. For anyone who's attending in person and plans to comment tonight, please print your name clearly on the sign-in sheet so that your name will be included in the meeting record. And for more information, please refer to the public comment interim process handout on the entrance table. First item up tonight, consent agenda. Ms. Hoover.
Thank you, President Younger. For approval on the consent agenda are the following items. A, claims and check register. Approval of the following checks and electronic fund transfers. 1, check numbers 413-265 through 413-406 and EFT numbers V45098 through V45182 in the grand total amount of $6,956,967.72. 2, regular payroll payout for pay period ending November 15th, 2025 in the amount of $5,282.46. 3, regular payroll for pay period ending November 30th in the amount of $1,199,835.02. B, minutes of council meeting December 3rd, 2025. C, minutes of study session December 10th, 2025. D, confirm reappointment of Anna Doring to the Planning Commission. E, confirm reappointment of John Brennan to the Citizens Commission on Council Salaries. F, interlocal agreement with Kitsap County for the West Sound Stormwater Outreach Group. G, ordinance number 5530 to amend the Bremerton Municipal Code to establish the Department of Human Resources and to replace the position of Human Resources Manager with Human Resources Director. H, confirm appointment of Tamika Stewart as Director of Human Resources at pay band 21, rate 4 of the 2026 Management, Professional, Confidential, and Fiduciary Salary Plan. I, contract modification number 1 with Bruce Dees and Associates for the Pendergast Regional Park Field Improvements Project. J, resolution number 3408 to update Indigenous Defense Services Standards and award 2026 Public Defense Services Agreement to Yellish, Barker, and Cunningham PLLC. And K, adoption of the Bremerton City Council Code of Conduct. This concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Thank you. If any member of the public wishes to speak on any of the consent agenda items, we only ask that you state your name for the record and please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Now I'm opening it up for public comment.
Roy Runyon, District 6. Got a couple issues or questions regarding some of these items on the consent agenda. Obviously, you've already decided to vote in favor of it because it's on consent. First of all, the ordinance 5530 creating the HR department. My question is, what is the net increase to the budget by doing that? Now, in the document, it indicates that this will replace the human resources manager. Are we retaining a human resources manager? So what is the net cost or increase to the budget? Just my quick calculation based on the other item where you plan on voting to hire an HR director, looks like it's about $200,000, including salary and benefits. But if we're eliminating a position, what is the net cost? That's not explained in the document. Second item, code of conduct. Really nice work. My question is, what are the sanctions against council members who violate the code of conduct? That's not spelled out anywhere. And also you mentioned that the conduct with the public, welcoming the public, eliminating public comment on items not on the agenda is not a welcoming action. So it's really lopsided. So council members who violate the code of conduct get off scot-free, but the public is punished. Corporate, group punishment for a few violators. And the council president has not explained what avenues those citizens who have complaints against individual employees or electeds have. That has never been explained in public as far as I can remember. So based on those items, I ask you to vote no on the consent agenda. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Runyon. So if you'd like, let's go ahead and try to address some of those questions. But before I get to that, I'm sorry, I'm getting, Mr. Camacho, I'm hearing this. Do you mind, please, sir? Thank you. All right, Mr. Riley, would you mind taking a stab at the first question on the net change, the delta?
Yeah, so the budgeted delta between the HR manager and the proposed HR director is about $20,000.
Okay, thank you. On the code of conduct, Mr. Runyon, I'm the one that primarily came up with the document with input. This microphone has never been this unsensitive. So on the code of conduct, I'm the one that primarily came up with the document, working alongside a couple other folks in the city. And we refer to in the document, if there's a conflict or if it's silent, then it is the council rules and procedures as far as punishment. But actually in the document, they mention that sanctions could include being stripped from a committee, stripped of, if you're a president or vice president, of that title, and or censure. So those are listed in the code of conduct. As far as public recognition, last study session, the council talked about how to best approach public recognition, and the decision was made collectively by the council for the council to address it at the beginning of the year. As of right now, I'm going to keep up with the practice of what we have right now, which was the pause since October 1st. All right. So next person, please. Go ahead, Mr. Camacho. Yes, sir.
Regarding the code of conduct. First, I'm Jose Camacho, friend of Smith's Cove, Rock the Block. The problem with the code of conduct is some scholars call this they actually acknowledge it's called one voice. That coerced or forced unanimity inherently violates the First Amendment. The First Amendment isn't just what you guys talk about in your deliberations or discussions. The First Amendment also controls what we as the public receive in terms of information from legislative bodies, municipal bodies, governmental units. When we don't get information that's accurate, that's a violation of the First Amendment. It actually cripples citizens from being able to meaningfully, intelligently participate in self-governance. So if you have a forced unanimity rule, this one voice thing, even if all you're saying is be respectful to each other, what you're doing is smothering information. Whether it's from one of you guys talking to another council member, you're smothering it, you're chilling free speech. And if that chill factor then means that someone I have voted for doesn't feel completely free to discuss the matter with me because it might piss you guys off or it might violate your sensitive feelings, which you guys have evidence you have plenty of, that is a violation of the First Amendment. And eventually that can lead into violations of due process. And we have seen there's been tons of funny business. You guys have circled the wagons, you keep stuff quiet. I'm gonna set the S word. So there is a problem with that. We voted for Christy Camarada because she's smart, because she listened to us, because she seems capable of impartiality. We wanted her to be different, very different from Coughlin up here. So if she then enters the council and you guys have what sounds kind of like a tepid rule, council conduct, but in fact, it's a de facto omerta where there are repercussions, even if it's just scowling, dirty looks or snide comments, that shows free speech. It shows thought. It shows interaction between elected officials and us citizens. We don't want our elected people to be silenced because you have a little cult, a little insiders club. That is wrong, and it's actually a violation. You guys all signed an oath to support the Constitution. That includes the First Amendment. You don't need to have a code of conduct that tells people how to talk. You really don't. Everyone's an adult.
Point of order. What's going on here? I'm sorry.
Put it back corner, just like our free speech. American law, long-term resident of Bremerton. One of the elements of this code of conduct involves public speech, free speech. Really is silencing me from saying the pledge of allegiance. I'm going to say it right now.
Ms. Long, I'm sorry. Ms. Long, this isn't on the consent agenda. I'm sorry, Mr. Erickson.
Public for
Mr. Erickson.
stands one nation under God,
I'm
indivisible,
sorry.
with
Point of
liberty
order.
and justice for all.
Mr. Erickson, could you shut off the microphone, please?
He did.
Off. Yeah. This is not public recognition.
I was giving a prime example.
I don't see the tie to that. I'm sorry to reading the Pledge of Allegiance.
It is part here. With ability to have this speech. People are kind of isolating the public from each other. Now I have no idea. That's what we do.
So, Mr. Erickson, are we going to stick germane to the consent agenda items now? What specific area are you talking to? That's not on the consent agenda. I'm sorry, Ms. Long. So I'm sorry, Ms. Long, that's not on the consent agenda. Thank you, Ms. Long. Thank you for your time. All right. Okay. I wonder if this is an omen for the rest of the meeting. Mr. Erickson, is there anyone online?
Nobody to speak, no.
Okay. Anyone else for comment on the consent agenda items?
I have to get my glasses. Okay, I'd like to speak to Council Code of Conduct. Also, I would like to adopt both Jose Camacho's and Mary Lou's comments. US constitutional law and Washington state constitutional law are supreme to the whims of this council. You have a code of conduct. It's an oath that you all sign to do your duty as council representatives impartially and uphold the US and Washington state constitutions. You have failed in being impartial and upholding US and Washington state constitution laws and protections. You've gagged the public, and now you want to gag your fellow council members from doing their job impartially and representing the residents of their district and not rubber stamping Andrea Spencer's special favors to developers.
So point of order, please.
There is a chance that District 3's new council person will be honest, will be impartial, and uphold Washington's constitutional law and the US constitutional law. That would run counter to the current council.
Point of
Christy
order. Point
Camarada-
of order.
No, you can take criticism. It's part of our First
So I'm
Amendment
sorry.
rights. You can take
No.
criticism.
I'm sorry, we're gonna hold this for a second. You still have your time. Mr. Erickson, keep track of the time. You have to respect Robert's Rules of Order, please. I have a point of order, so Councilmember Fry, what is your point?
I do not see how staff, mentioning staff has any pertinence to the
She's
item.
not staff. She is the director of the.
So
DPP.
I'm sorry,
Considered for
you do not have the floor right now. Please, please,
She is not staff.
please, no,
She is, you rubber stamp what she gives you.
I'm sorry. So we still have the floor here.
She's
Could you
one-
please pause, please? Okay, so that's the objection.
Okay.
So
I
can we
need
keep
to
germane
respect
to,
Yes, oh,
I'm
yes, I'm too. I'm going to talk about how Christy Camarada
please,
is the next city council.
what does that have to
person.
do with the code of conduct?
It's the code of conduct wants you to all stand as one, right? And the point is, the current council is not, favors developers. It is corrupt. We are waiting for an honest council person to come in and be able to, and be able to uphold the US Constitution and the Washington State Constitution and be impartial. That is your oath. That is your code of conduct. You took that oath and you've broken it. You have failed the residents of this town by doing so, and you want to now gag the next council person that comes here.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. So I feel an obligation to set the record straight on the code of conduct here. Council members are free to express their opinion, as was so eloquently stated by Mr. Camacho, his First Amendment. Mr. Erickson, is there any way you could hear me, right? All right, so I'm gonna really speak up. All right. Thank you for your patience. The section of the Council of Code of Conduct was not intended to be a gag order on any particular council member. We had this discussion again at 5 o'clock upstairs. I understand you weren't there to listen to it, so I'm going to summarize the discussion. And this has been a long-standing tradition of the city council. When a council makes a decision, if it's not a unanimous decision, sometimes it's 6-1, sometimes 5-2, 4-3, etc. If you're speaking about the item after the vote and you disagree with the opinion, with the vote of the council, you're free to do so, but you must state it's your personal opinion. Okay? The majority of the council has agreed to go to a certain direction. And so you state, well, the council voted go in this direction. You are free to say, however, I disagree with the council and here's why. But you shouldn't be speaking disparagingly per council rules or procedures. You shouldn't be saying to the effect, this council's a bunch of idiots. They don't understand, whatever. Just, it really echoes our council rules and procedures and puts the same language, the same intent in the code of conduct. Right? So if you want to blow it out of proportion, that's up to you. You have your time on the consent agenda to spew what you just said, but that's not the intent. And this council here knows it. All right. No one else for consent agenda? Call for the question.
Councilmember Chamberlain,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Robolowski,
Yes.
Goodnow,
Yes.
Mochler,
Yes.
Younger.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is public hearings. 4A, ordinance number 5531 to adopt the 2026 Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan. Our
One moment, please. I erred. Thank you, Councilmember Goodnow. On the consent agenda, we just approved the appointment of Ms. Tamika Stewart as Director of Human Resources, and I believe she's in the audience. I'd like to call her up and I'm sorry, Ms. Stewart, I didn't give you a notice, but would you come up and address the council, please? If you wouldn't mind. I like your sweater, by the way.
Good evening to members of the council and members of the community. Thank you for confirming my appointment to the Director of Human Resources. I am excited and looking forward to being a part of this family. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much. One moment, please. Oh, this is your- yeah, we have- Sure. Ms. Hoover, I'm sorry for interrupting.
problem. Our next item on the agenda is item 4A, ordinance number 5531 to adopt the 2026 Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan. Our presenter tonight is Parks and Recreation Director Tim Barker.
Welcome, Mr. Barker.
Thank you, council. And Ms. Stewart, I'd like to let you know that last year at this point, when I was brought on to staff, I actually had to answer a bunch of questions. So you got lucky. Yeah. So get out. Yeah, you better run. Okay, thank you, council, for allowing me to speak again today. Just have a few comments to make today. Last meeting on December 3rd, you heard a more full presentation, so I won't put you through that again. So since I made a formal presentation at the last meeting, I'm just going to make a few comments. The PROS plan is a culmination of 9 months of public input through in-person meetings, surveying, and comments provided to staff through emails and social media, in addition to opportunity for the public to provide comments at the city council meeting on December 3rd with our first public hearing prior to today. The plan before you is a result of many hours of work completed by staff and the Parks and Recreation Commission prior to their approval of the draft at their September commission meeting. It is a plan that includes priorities that we believe greatly reflects the feedback that we receive from the community members and users of our parks and recreation facilities. It's not perfect, but we are very proud of this product that we have before you and for your consideration tonight. There are a couple changes that were made that are, most of them are written into the document that's in your packet today that weren't in the packet for December 3rd. And some of those changes were made based on feedback from council and from the public. So most of those are related to various comments within the main portion of the plan, but in addition to goals number 2 and number 7, we have updated those. And so you do have the current information there. In addition to that, on page 37, after receiving some comments back today, I would like to propose a change for you to consider. On page 37, the bullet under management concerns within the Kiwanis Park area. So just for public information, each of the pages related to the inventory within our park system lists a description of the park, inventory, management concerns, and improvement recommendations. And as one of the management concerns within Kiwanis Park, it mentions the term vagrant, and I'd like to change that to unhoused population. So if we can make that change there. The term is used within the survey, which we cannot change at this point, but we will make that change in future surveys that we do put out to the community.
So, Mr. Barker, just for the record, that note has been changed. And so if the council votes on the main motion, it will reflect that change for the
Okay.
record.
Thank you. And as far as that, that's the end of my presentation for today.
Okay, thank you, sir. So the purpose of this public hearing is to accept public comment and action is anticipated. With that, does any member of the public wish to comment on this item?
If I may, I don't do well when I'm interrupted. It like throws me completely off what I'm reading, and I didn't get half of what I read. So my name is Robin Weldon. And I had a whole big, long comment about vagrant and the use of the Dickensian offensive word vagrant. But I would like to thank Mr. Barker for taking that word out. That was what bothered me more than anything. It is just an offensive slur. And hatred of the poor is called aporophobia. And there is a culture here of that in the policies that have been by this council, the anti-camping, the broad anti-camping law, where it's, where people are arrested or rousted or for just being, because they can't afford to live inside. So, they're constantly being moved along, and the parks are the safe place, the public place, the place for all of us, every single one of us. Thank you.
Roy Runyon, District 6. I haven't carefully reviewed the plan, but I noticed in my quick review that there are several omissions. When I see the words open space, it just doesn't refer to formal parks controlled by the Parks Department. We've got school playgrounds, we've got facilities owned by the utilities that are not actually included in this quote open space plan. So I think there's some omissions, and I prefer that a comprehensive look be taken at all the open space in Bremerton. Also a question, there was a standard, a previous parks director pulled out a plan dated from 1944. 1944 was a year when we had 80,000 people living within the city limits. But the standard was we need to have a park within a half-mile walking distance of every Bremerton resident. That's such an unrealistic goal. Is that still driving this plan? Is that still the standard? And if so, what would that cost, not only to create, but also to operate and maintain? We have problems with operating and maintaining our facilities. Things are falling apart as far as I can tell. We have more employees than we've ever had. Now we have an HR director, and we can't seem to maintain the city. So District 6 specifically, there's a park called Arvon Park. That's not on the plan. Is that no longer a park? Was that surplused? There's actually an ordinance with requirements for the city council, unanimous vote of the city council to surplus those park facilities. So I don't see that anywhere. It's been neglected by the city. It's not maintained. Nobody has access to it. It's fenced off. So I'd like to hear about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Runyon. So before we get the next person, I'd like to address the questions if we can. I can remember them. Mr. Barker, you've heard there, I think Ms. Runyon had 3 questions, and I'll try to remind you if you need a prompt.
If I ask you for a prompt, is that me putting you on the spot?
No, I'll just restate the question.
That would be appreciated.
Yeah. So the first, let's do the low hanging fruit, the Armand Park.
Arvon.
Okay, does that exist? Is it in the plan? What's going on?
It exists. It is one that we will be recommending for surplus. There
Okay.
was a previous agreement, but would take the council to, it is an unused park at this point. It has a very small playground that's no longer safe. And so that's why it's been locked off. It's a very small, it doesn't fit our standards for our park sizes either. And is a property that will be looked at for surplus.
Okay, very well. I think the first question was more of a comment, if it was the first one. And that has to do with open spaces that aren't owned by the Parks Department. Those aren't addressed in the pros plan, is that correct?
That's correct. Our focus of the pros plan was on properties that we can manage, that we manage currently and that we have control over.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean on the backside that we don't have conversations with other governmental entities for partnerships down the road, or that we may look towards unused property for potential park development. It's just not addressed in the plan.
Okay. And the last comment Mr. Onion brought up, I believe, was the necessity or the desire to have a park within a half a mile of every resident in the city. Can you address that?
Yes, and that's a national standard through National Recreation and Park Association. That's what we refer to in the plan as a 10-minute walk. So this national standard or goal is to have a park for every resident within a 10-minute walk of your residence.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Right. Next, Mr. Camacho, go ahead, sir.
Jose Camacho, friend of Smith Cove, Rock the Block. In 1972, the Supreme Court ruled that vagrancy law, as an entire body of centuries-old law, was just outright wrong, and he essentially said it was un-American. The term vagrant isn't even used. It took Bremerton to resurrect a dead word and an unconstitutional concept, and it is interspersed throughout the PROS plan. Mr. Barker didn't apologize or retract the plan, which is what I asked when I pointed out the wrongfulness of that word vagrant being used in the PROS plan. That's why he's removing it. So good for him. It's a little bit late because the survey had the leading question to the public. If you say the parks are this or that, is it because of the vagrant issues? So this is the leading question. It essentially teaches and indoctrinates the public to look at homelessness as inherently a problem of criminality. And it was my fear that the culture in the city and the parks was exactly that, because Mockler had proposed hosing the homeless. And I was shocked, and I identified myself as one. I've slept in parks. So that was my fear. I asked, can you stop the clock and reconsider whether this is a thing? And the PROS plan indicates that it is a thing. The parks are the primary public space for people to simply be. There is no other example of a pure sanctuary for urban people. So now when the homeless go there, including with their advocates and communities, just to have a break and celebrate or relax, to sleep, to relax, sit down, whatever. Now they're targets. The city has an unconstitutional targeting regime that is called the anti-camping ordinance. I've seen the videos. It's unconstitutional. You won't let people be. You treat the poor very distinctly from regular people. We've seen it. Jocelyn's testified about it for years. So now in the place of sanctuary, of peace, meditation, you guys are okay with having the public drop the dime and target any person who looks poor. It's a disgrace. And Mr. Barker and you guys should have no problem saying, my bad, we're sorry, we're going to retract this, we're going to start over. You have yet to censure Mockler for her disgraceful comment. And she's a human being and we all F up. But that was a milestone in depravity for an elected official. It's not impartial. That targets the poor. The PROS plan should be withdrawn. You should not vote on it.
Mr. Erickson, could you see if there is anyone online?
There are no hands raised online.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Dan Heron, District 6. I was going to talk about vagrancy and it looks like it might be removed, but I came all the way here, so I'm going to put my 2 cents in. So get my glasses on here. All right, so vagrant is generally considered inappropriate for several reasons. It stigmatizes language. It carries negative connotations and implies moral failure or criminality rather than circumstance. Lack of precision. It does not accurately describe someone's housing or economic situation. Historical and legal baggage. The term is tied to discriminatory vagrancy laws used to criminalize poverty. Inconsistent with modern standards. Public agencies aim to use neutral person first language and reputational legal risks. Its use can undermine public trust and invite criticism. So I do hope that you change the thing as recommended and get rid of the word vagrancy. Thank you very much.
So again, for the record, the change has been made.
Hi, I'm Sarah. And JJ, yeah. Sorry, I'm nervous. We're homeless and we stay in the shelter. I'm a mom, so is JJ. Most of the women at the shelter are moms with small children as well. There's elderly, disabled, LGBTQ, all walks of life in there. And we have to leave the shelter at 9 a.m. and can't return until 4. And a lot of times we go to the parks, take our kids there. There's ladies there that go there to feed the birds and just enjoy the park, mind our business. We're not criminals, we're not vagrants, we're just people.
Yeah, and so, using this kind of verbiage in our community is just really hurtful and harmful to people. And I don't know if you guys realize that, but like yesterday, like the babies, like we have 3 girls with babies and they're sitting out in the rain and you're persecuting us like this. It's just not okay. And I think that we need to reevaluate as a community the way that we're treating our citizens. So, yeah.
And just keep all that in mind when you're making your plans.
Thanks.
Anyone else? I'll check one more time with you, Mr. Erickson, online.
All clear online.
Okay, thank you, sir. So hearing's now closed. No, Mr. Camacho. I'm sorry, Mr. Camacho. No, I closed the hearing. I'm sorry, Mr. Camacho. I've closed the hearing. Thank you. I'll go to the council for a motion. Councilmember Coughlin.
I move to pass ordinance number 5531, adopting the 2026 Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any comments? Councilmember Coughlin.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to commend you, Director Barker, on this year-long process for the Parks Plan. I was really excited when you entered the city, just given your really professional knowledge of parks and operations. And I think you brought this right to our city. As far as the plan, I was really grateful to see a survey that got, almost 1,000 responses. I think it was one of the highest response city surveys I've seen in my time on council. And that made me feel good that we were really capturing the majority of folks in the city and what they wanted to see in their parks. And I think heard loud and clear on the use of language and surveys, and I know folks will take that into account going forward. Really grateful for your changes in the language and the changes you've incorporated in the document. And I also want to give a large thanks to the Parks Commission, which are citizens in Bremerton that volunteer their time every month to to review parks procedures and policies, and they put, I know, a wealth of time into this plan that'll be used over the next 6 years. So my thanks to them. And again, really glad to see too, really the conclusion of the parks plan, which prioritizes projects, which says where the city is going to focus resources. And we know parks is unfortunately always one of the last to be fully funded in the city. And so I know it's going to be a challenge over the next couple of years, but I'm glad to see we have a plan. I know there's some creative solutions to get funding, to get that done, and to really tap into our citizens here who I know love our park system, want to volunteer, help out. And I just really look forward to what you're going to do over the next 6 years with this plan in hand, and go forth and execute. Well done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Mochler.
Thanks. So I'd just really like to thank Director Barker, who not only encouraged my input, but went through, you guys all know how I can annotate. I annotated the heck out of this. One thing I was very happy was that we reaffirmed our commitment to native drought-tolerant plantings, fiscally conservative, and, you know, also the way the county and the state are going. I particularly appreciate the change made to goal 2.3 to make sure that every park is and the people who use it are treated equally. I would have liked to have had some reference to the climate crisis in this, but since we don't have it in pretty much anything else, I knew that was an uphill battle. What I would like to really echo is Councillor Coughlin's, there were over 900 respondents to the survey respondents. That's quite a few. And they were asked questions that really reached out to people who live here. Not people coming in to like cruise Harborside, but people who live here, people who want neighborhood parks, people who want, if at all possible, to have a park within 10 minutes of them. I'm so sorry, it's hard to hear when you guys are speaking because the acoustics are so great here. And even if that was the standard in 1944, it's still going to be the standard that parents pushing strollers are really going to want to be within 10 minutes of a park with a playground, if at all possible. And I recommend to everybody to look at the data that Director Barker collected at the beginning of this plan and the funding opportunities that he identified at the end. This is is masterly like an okay word to use still? This is a superb job. There we go. And I congratulate you. Thank you.
Okay, Vice President Revlowski.
Yes, first I want to assure everybody that we had a robust conversation at our 5 o'clock meeting upstairs, our pre-meeting, and the public's always welcome to join those meetings where we discuss the agenda and any questions that any council member might have on either the consent agenda or any other item. And I know the word vagrant wasn't, the people who wrote the survey and wrote the pros plan weren't aware of how offensive that word is. And so luckily we now have a diversity and equity manager on staff who I spoke with her earlier today, and each time some sort of survey is brought up to the council for approval for it to be sent out, I'm going to ask that she review it for language that is offensive to other people. It wasn't meant to be that way, and I'm sorry that it was previously included. And Director Barker was in full agreement that he could remove the reference. Now, we can't start the process all over again because we don't have the money to do that, and we need to have the plan in place in order to try to get grants for improvements to our park system.
No worries, point of order. So we done, Councilman. Thank you. Councilmember Chamberlain.
Okay. Director Barker. You mentioned that there was a pocket park that was recommended for being closed. And in my district, there's another pocket park that was recommended to be closed as well. Is that right? Was there an, is it okay if I ask him?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Counselor. Nothing's been officially proposed.
Okay.
But there is a pocket park. I think you're referring to the one that's near Stephenson Canyon,
Yes.
with the basketball hoop.
No.
No, okay.
It's, and I apologize, I don't remember the name of it. It's a small pocket park by the water past Lions Park, past the boat launch.
So, yeah, you're talking about Pat Carey Vista.
Yes, Pat Carey
So we're not necessarily proposing to close that. We've got some other conversations going on. There's major concerns with that as far as what's occurring from the sound undermining that space and basically moving what's
Okay.
there for the earth into the water. And so we've got to identify what that space is going to be moving forward.
I think that what I'm hoping that can be considered is some of these, if there is excess properties that are recommended to be closed or repurposed or what have you, that it could be as maybe a small source, but a source of generating revenue for the city.
For sure.
It's something that I bring up, about other parcels in the city too. It's just a progressive revenue stream rather than taxing folks. You can sell off small parcels. Maybe there's a homeowner across the way. All right, thank you so much.
Yes,
That's
and
it.
just real briefly, and again, we didn't go through and decide, well, we want to close X number of parks in 2026. Because I'm not.
There's no quota.
I'm not,
you're
yeah, I'm not in the
this year.
business of
That's
closing parks.
right.
If I would be, I'd be close to retirement or unemployment.
Fair.
So I prefer to protect as much land as possible. But as we were doing the evaluation, and honestly, the best thing I could have done walking in was to probably walk into a pros plan on day one of my first year being here, because I have no preconceived idea of what anything should be. And so I have a very objective view on things. And so there are areas that I will bring to council this next year to just kind of discuss areas that we thought, as far as maintenance wise, maybe off the beaten path, too small, doesn't really get use. How can we create revenues to enhance other parks or create other park spaces?
Right.
Essentially what we're looking at. Yep.
Thank you so much. That's really all the questions I had. Oh, you guys, language is important. Language is so important. I remember when I came on, I'll try to be quick with this one, but when I was onboarded with HR, that there was language, gendered language in the paperwork I was signing. And I said, well, one day we're going to have somebody who's non-binary who is elected to council. Which box are they going to check if there's no paperwork for them? And so we do have public comment opportunities through emails. It's clear that system is working because we received some public comment on a particular item and it led to a change. And so this is when the system is working. Thank you. And so I apologize for missing that language. It's important. Language is important. And so whether or not people know it or want to own it, but they're part of our team. So thank you, teammates, for helping us in this process. And I love it when we can collaborate in positive ways, in progressive ways for the betterment of our citizens. So I remember being, yeah, I just remember being, all my dirt is in this town, like all of it. All the times that I was targeted in certain ways when I was not well and I couldn't find resources in this community. And when police officers were not honest at times on paperwork, when they had interactions with me, this has happened. This is my lived experience. And so language is important. That is all. Thank you.
All right, other comments? Seeing none, call for the question.
Councilmember Frye,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Robolowski,
Yes.
Goodnow,
Yes.
Mochler,
Yes.
Chamberlain,
Yes.
Younger.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. And before we continue, President Younger, there was a process we did not cover during the consent agenda, and that was the motion and the second. So we do need to go back to our item. Everyone voted, but we went straight
Wow.
from public comment to vote.
So
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Now we'll call for the question.
call for the
Councilmember
question.
Chamberlain,
Yes.
thank you. Fry,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Robolowski,
Yes.
Goodnow,
Yes.
Mochler,
Yes.
Younger.
Yes.
Motion
That's-
carries unanimously.
Thank you. And I find that really puzzling. So this is my last day and it never fails to mess things. Yeah, I am fired. I'm done. You know what? I'm going to announce at the December 31st, I'm through with this place. All right. With that, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And let's go to general business items.
General business item 5A, ordinance number 5532 to amend Bremerton Municipal Code section 15.03.040 entitled Service Beyond City Limits. Our presenter tonight is Assistant City Attorney Brett Jett.
Good evening, council. We talked about this last week at study session, but this is to amend the BMC so that sewer service outside city limits, but within the city's UGA, are provided if an individual signs an outside utility agreement agreeing to future annexation and certain development requirements. This change is being made to comply with requirements that cities provide sewer service if they hold themselves out as the sewer service provider and are the exclusive provider in that area. It also now aligns with the city's provision of water services, which only requires the outside utility agreement as well. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jett. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this item?
In the study session, Jose Camacho, Friend of Smith Cove, Rock the Block. In the study session, controlling precedent was mentioned by Mr. Jetty. Jane Robolowski talked about it. This was precedent that said what the council did previously was without authority. Does the public get a copy of the precedent, Mr. Jetty? Do we get to be informed? So how in the world are we able to assess what's going on if you guys admitted doing illegal stuff, a formal proceeding without authority, and there's precedent that was alarming enough that Jane mentioned it. And Mr. Jetty said, yes, I can't remember the date. So you suggested that he bring it before this. So where is it? I'm making a public record request for every piece of precedent he mentioned and you discussed, because it looks like you guys did official business without authority, and this is a habit that I've mentioned before over the last 2 years. It's endemic. There's an issue with the city attorney's office. So I want a copy of the precedent without redaction, because it's part of this. The public has a right to know what's going on.
No worries. So it's noted what your public records request is. I would like both Attorney Jett and Attorney Fennell were at the meeting last study session. Was there an admission by the council that we did something illegal?
No, and I don't believe that you did.
Thank you. Thank you,
No one
sir.
no one ever said that. Jane didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Thank you. No, this is not a dialogue, Mr. Croncho. You had your time. It's just that you continually come up to the podium and say that the council does this illegally, whatever, with some, you know what, I'm going to let go. I'm going to let go. And we're going to go to the next person up for public comment on this item.
Thank you. I'm Beverly Parsons, and I'm speaking in regard to this, the ordinance number 5532. Your decision on this ordinance has direct impact on our communities that lie within the Bremerton urban growth boundaries, such as Enetai and Illahee. You have an amendment before you to modify Municipal Code 1503-040. It appears that the amendment seeks to remove a previously conducted community annexation feasibility study, which provided community voice. It also seems to remove decision-making checks and balances by the city council on developer actions. It automatically approves sewer line extensions anywhere in or outside the UGA under the condition that applicants sign agreements to annex into the city now or in the future. The Enetai community had previously voted overwhelmingly against annexation. And so this ordinance gives the impression of trying to force annexation regardless of community opposition. So what I would ask that this amended ordinance before you tonight not be considered for a vote now, but after the case law used as a basis for this amendment is provided to the public and to the council to review and comment on further. And I would also ask that you wait until after January 1st, 2026, with the newly seated council members. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to make sure everyone can hear me. My name is Carol Price. I'm speaking in regards to Ordinance 5532. At a study session on December 10th, the City Council and City Attorney now claim they did not have the authority to make their decision of November 1st, 2023 to approve a sewer line extension outside the city limit, outside Bremerton city limits to Enetai. Outgoing Councilman Younger, previous co-author of the ordinance, along with the city attorney, are pushing to patch the holes in the ordinance to prevent future litigation, like Save Enetai's Resolution 3367. It appears that some council members do not want to be held to account for their decisions. The city attorney claims case law prevents the city from approving or denying sewer extensions in the UGA. However, the city attorney has failed to cite the case law to support Ordinance 5532. This ordinance should not, it didn't get better. This ordinance should not be pushed through during the busy holiday season when the public is not watching and before the end of terms of outgoing council members. This comes across to the community as a backdoor manipulation designed to cut out residents' voices and avoid accountability. This annexation ultimately favors developers over citizens in Kitsap County. This amended ordinance should not be considered for a vote until after January 1st, 2026. After the 1st, there will be newly seated council members. So wait until after January. The public and council need time to review the case law used as a basis for this amendment. The public and council, we all need time to review and comment on Ordinance 5532. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Before we get to the next presenter, an allegation was made that the city did not have the authority to approve extension of sewer services to the urban growth area in 2023, that we didn't have authority to do so. Mr. Jett, would you please address that allegation?
And again, that I don't ever believe that that was communicated at the December 10th meeting. I also want to clarify another statement that was made that is also incorrect, that this would allow automatic sewer extension into both UGA and non-UGA areas. That's not correct. The city's not allowed to extend sewer into non-UGA areas. This also isn't automatic. I think those were the issues that need to be clarified.
I also wanted to point out that this is an item that was presented to the Public Works Committee in November. Because we only had one study session in November, we did not push it forward to that study session. We put it on to the 10th. So it was originally discussed at the Public Works Committee. It was the first item on the Tuesday, November 18th meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Lisa Hurt, and I'm a 64-year resident of Kitsap County. My question and statements today are in hopes of pointing out a larger problem facing the county than the annexation of the sewer. My question concerns the Old Cheney estate. What would motivate someone to put a property in open space status with obvious intent on protecting the 61 acres for all the reasons listed, like 100-year-old plus firs, nesting eagles, other otter dens, steep slopes, and year-round freshwater streams? It says right in the application.
So I'm sorry, is this germane to this? Could you tie this in a little tighter, please? Rather than a specific developer or property owner?
I'm getting there.
Please.
Please, okay. It says right in the application that animals will be protected, then change the status of the application. Is it profit? What about the protection that was given to all things listed? Was it just to save property taxes with the knowledge that they could get away with the conversion as soon as the market looked right?
I'm sorry, can you tell me where
I'm just
specifically
in
in this ordinance
that this is
a addressed?
loophole.
Okay.
This is a loophole in the system, and it should be corrected. This is happening all over the county, and all of it's forested and open spaces right now are being sold to the highest bidder. Once these rare and precious spaces are gone, they cannot be replaced. We appoint officials to take care of the citizens' best interest, not cave to developers behind closed doors. The citizens trust that you folks are doing your job because we're out working trying to do ours. We don't have the time or energy to navigate the lack of transparency in our local government. We find we are constantly needing to be fluent with government RCWs and how to discuss these with all the different heads of the government organizations in meetings and with the flawed websites that we have to deal with, then resort to litigation when nothing seems to change. I am on the Parks Advisory Board in Kitsap County. The same thing happened with our Kitsap County PROS plan. It came down to a time crunch because of contractor delays and the need for funding from the RCO. I suggested a more thorough review because there are.
So again, I'm sorry, what does this have to do? I'm sorry, you have 21 seconds left. We can hold that,
Keep
Mr. Erickson.
interrupting my time.
No,
I'm
but
making a
I'm sorry.
statement. Okay.
I'm respectfully, you need to be germane to the topic, which is the ordinance on hand, and not talk about the Kitsap
Wasn't this
County
general
parks.
statements?
No, just speak to the ordinance, please.
Well, I'm just saying we elect you officials to take care of the citizens' best interest. And it seems to me this isn't happening right now. Places are disappearing and you guys are letting it happen. So let's not let developers and capitalists always win. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm Margaret Tuft and have lived in Kitsap County for 30 years. And I am reading, and from what I understand, some of you had said this may not be correct, but I'm going to read it anyway. The Bremerton City Council and City Attorney. It is what was signed by, as of today, 75 people. As residents of Kitsap County, your decisions have direct impact on our communities that lie within the Bremerton urban growth boundaries such as Enetai and Elahi. The council has before them to approve or disapprove on December 17th an amendment to Municipal Code 15.03.040 that seeks to remove a community annexation feasibility survey, community voice, remove all decision-making checks and balances by the city council, automatically approve sewer line extensions anywhere in or outside the UGA under the condition applicant signs agreement to annex into the city now or at a future date. The Enate community previously voted overwhelmingly against annexation. The council previously admitted in study session this ordinance backdoor for developers to override the community, which unfortunately happens a lot, was designed to force annexation regardless of community opposition. On November 1st, 2023, the council voted 5-2 to approve a sewer line extension way outside city limits to Enetai, which created an island to be allowed sewer, with the community vehemently opposed. Save Enetai filed a lawsuit opposing the decision, which went to court to appeals. It was denied, not due to its legal merits. At a study session on 12/10, City Council and City Attorney now claim they did not have the authority to make that decision. An outgoing councilman Younger, previously co-author of the
Point
ordinance.
of order, that's already been
Yeah,
clarified.
we've already discussed
The same misinformation.
that's fine, but we've already discussed for the record. No, Mr. Erickson, you stopped the clock. I got a point of the order, so I'm gonna let you continue, okay?
Thank you.
But again, just it doesn't help your cause to speak untruths, but go ahead.
I said at the beginning that there may be some things that you've said are untrue.
No worries.
But because it has been signed by many people, I'm going to respect those people and read it.
Okay.
City Attorney is pushing to patch the holes in the ordinance to prevent future litigation like Save Enetai, Resolution 3367. Some council members want clean hands and not be held to account for their decisions. The city attorney claims case law prevents the city from approving or denying sewer extensions in the UGA. However, has failed to cite case
Council
law.
President.
Okay, so, right.
Just want everybody to be treated equitably with time. I know, but with time wise, everybody gets their time. I apologize, but.
Right, let's give her another 15 seconds. And-
Thank you, and then I will be finished.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Council President.
Outgoing Younger is pushing through an ordinance during the busy holiday season when the public is not watching and before he ends his term. The community sees this as yet another sneaky backdoor manipulation designed to cut out residents' voices, avoid accountability, and force annexation.
Okay, time. Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Roy Runyon, District 6. Well, I've been on both sides of the dais, been on the council. I've actually voted in favor of requiring those in UGAs to sign an agreement not to contest annexation into the city of Bremerton, where to extend sewer service, including Gorst. So But I do have a concern about taking this out of the council's hands. I think there's a value to the council having a look at it, asking those sometimes difficult questions that the staff may not like you for. So for that reason, I say, do not pass this tonight. I think a compromise position would be to defer, to kick the can down the road a little bit, to give maybe the new council members a shot at this. It's complicated. So anyway, but another thing to communicate to members of the community who are not citizens of Bremerton, one of the benefits of being a citizen of Bremerton is you can run an initiative to put it in the code, to take that power away from the city council. We've actually threatened to do that. We've actually done that in the past as citizens. So that's one good reason to join the city of Bremerton, isn't it? Thank you.
Okay, my name's Kathy Lustig, and I am a community organizer and activist fighting to protect an old growth forest in the former state of William Bremer. The city of Bremerton is seeking to amend or gut MC 15.03.04, service beyond city limits by ordinance 5532, which I'm opposed to giving. The city is trying to quietly push it through without review and during the busy holiday season. This vote should not occur until after January 1st, when the council and the community have the opportunity for a thorough review. I saw the study session last week. I think without us being able to put it up, some of what's been said is not exactly accurate. I heard that the reason this was being done was that you had all figured out by case law that you didn't have the power to be able to approve or deny, that it wasn't within your power. So I'm not sure where we're getting lost in translation here, because I heard it. A lot of people heard it. This, given now that some members of the council and the city attorney are justifying the change because they never had the authority to approve or deny. That's what I heard. Maybe I'm wrong. We should put it up there. You claimed at last week's study session that you were under pressure from the developer under threat of lawsuit to approve a sewer line extension, yet your own port commissioner, Gary Anderson, stood by John Rose, a member of the developer cartel, at the city council meeting supporting this project. Then you joined forces with the developer against the community legally. This is rich. For the record, Save Ennetai did not lose the lawsuit.
So again, can we get specifically to the ordinance?
I'm talking about this.
That's a stretch. I'm sorry. You're bringing up.
Okay, all right. Let me keep going, please.
Sure.
Let's go way, way back in time, Mr. Younger, when you and the former city attorney, Roger Leibovich, created this illegal ordinance. What was it, 2018, 2019? Something like that? Okay, that was used. It was admittedly that used to force annexation. Now, due to Save Enetai's lawsuit, you want to patch the legal holes in your ordinance to prevent future litigation and leave the city council with their hands clean and not be accountable for making these decisions. That's what this is about. You're attempting to make decisions in and out of the UGA and cut the voice of the community out. What gives you the right to do that? Given the council used the ordinance as a hammer to the community of Ennetai on November 1st that resulted in our lawsuit seeking to throw out this resolution that approved the sewer line extension for developer John and Shauna Fisher, AKA John Rose, his real estate liaison, who has a history of cutting deals for Radiant.
All right, thank you.
Well, I have a solution for you.
Thank you.
I have a solution.
Mr. Erickson,
Can I
shut
just
the
say what my
microphone off,
solution
please.
is?
No, thank you.
Well, I suggested
Mr. Erickson, go ahead.
money in the pot to buy the property and cut a deal with John.
I'd like you to have a seat, please. Thank you.
My name is Robin Weldon. I am Friends of Smith Cove. I am also supportive of Save Ennetai and their struggle against the city of Bremerton. And I want to adopt and support all the comments from them on 5532. I also heard that you did not have the power at the time in the November 1st, when you first voted, or a SEPA checklist to be able to take that sewer line into Enitai. And you were doing it, and we were doing it for a Canadian developer to build single family housing by raising a forest buffer, by destroying wildlife habitat, by threatening shoreline bluffs and Enitai Creek and the shoreline, the fragile.
So again, Ms. Welding, could you get to the point of the ordinance rather than a specific example?
The whole thing was illegal, and this at the moment is a patchwork cover-up for it.
Okay.
And we need a lot more information. You should not do a vote on this right now because we don't know everything. You're not being transparent. And you know, Kathy Lustig has, you know, fought this, gone in debt fighting the city, where the city attorneys use the people's money to fight back. And they didn't win out of any moral or merit. They won because they ran out of money fighting you.
Hi there. I'm not used to speaking and I'm a little nervous here. Okay, hi there. I'm Christy Schultz. I am PCO of the 67th. I'm not in the city of Bremerton. I live on Candy Cane Lane, which is a little bit off of Enitai. It's in between Ilhi and Enitai, Viewcrest. Please drive carefully. It's really crowded this time of year. Anyway, I've been here 25 years in the same place on Viewcrest. I'd like to speak to Ordinance 5532, which involves service beyond city limits, allows for automatic annexation if utilities such as sewers are provided outside of the city. No, we don't want your sewers. No, we don't want to be city. So quit talking about tools for annexation. I do pay for the use of city facilities through the county, known as a freeloader. On my tax statements going back to 2001, I paid for library, roads, fire, school services, and PUD, which I believe stands for public utilities. I see no reason for my taxes to fund murals and malls downtown Bremerton, as I rarely go there. This misguided push from some at the city council to annex is driven, I assume, by a desire to broaden the city tax base, or possibly through some friendship with the Kitsap Developer Consortium. My ancestors walked the Trail of Tears. I know a land grab when I see it. Let me remind everyone, you are here to serve us. We are not here to provide you revenue. Please get your priorities straight. Ordinance 5532 apparently requires no feasibility study. I think that's what I heard. It was a very non-transparent study session last time. Anyway, that needs to be done prior to providing utilities to a new development. Enitai is under assault by an international developer who is trying to get the city or the county to foot the bill for his expensive sewer extension to his vanity development. He wants to shove in on a sliding slope and earthquake fault on the eastern shore. In my humble opinion, the city is simply being foolish with 5532, as it will leave you vulnerable to lawsuits associated with any development should a developer choose to not do a feasibility study. There hasn't been an unbiased environmental or geotech study done in Enitai yet. Smoothing out any annexation process with 5532 serves no one but the developers and the administrators. It certainly does not help the citizens who live in this region. I have a lot more on a letter. I didn't feel like burdening the whole group with it. Can I give you guys a letter? Stop Parks in there too. I really like to start. Did a great job, sir.
Okay, is that it for public comment on this So, Mr. Erickson, is there anyone on
There are no raised hands.
Councilmember? Let's go ahead. So we're going to close it to public comment. Open up to the council for a motion. Councilmember Goodnow.
Move to approve proposed ordinance number 5532, amending BMC section 15.03.040 entitled Service Beyond City Limits.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Open for discussion. Councilmember Goodnow.
Hi. I'm going to probably have you guys answer some questions for me. To clarify a little bit, and I'm going to look for you if I say anything wrong. What would have been illegal for us to do, and not really illegal, but the courts have ruled that we shouldn't do it, would be to disallow providing sewer services to the UGA area. So there's case law out there that had the city not permitted this to move forward, we would be at risk. The state courts have decided that if the UGA exists, that we as a council don't have the authority to stop it. Is that a fair enough statement? If you need to sharpen my words a little bit.
Sure. I think if the city holds itself out as the sewer provider and is the sole sewer provider, then a decision of the council not to provide sewer service that is not based on the ability to provide sewer service would be inappropriate. And so I think that the issue here is that when this was written, I think it was written with that intention, but we had situations where individuals were urging the council to consider things like neighborhood impact, aesthetic, environment, and those things would be an inappropriate basis to deny a sewer to an individual in a UGA area where the city holds itself out as providing sewer service and is the sole provider of that sewer service.
All right. That's why I'm going to try to be clear.
I understand that was long.
Yeah. You should be a lawyer. So
I'm sorry, point of order. The public has had their chance. Let's go ahead and Councilmember Goodnow, go ahead.
Yeah, I have the floor. I didn't speak when anybody else spoke. So what we're saying is that a lot of this criteria we can't use. We can either, if we can provide it, we need to provide it. If we've said we'll provide it, we need to provide it. But what is this? Is there, you kind of opened up something else saying that if there was a possible another provider?
Correct, yes. There's
so,
not in the city's UGAs.
Right. That makes sense. But I'm not sure if that's clear to folks. There's nobody else that could provide it. We were designated when the UGA was voted on however many years ago. But I will say that the reason the council supported this, I'm trying not to speak specifically about a neighborhood. The reason that we would support it is when the UGA was developed at the county level, and the county, actually not the city of Bremerton, the county said, Bremerton, we designate this and this and this area as urban growth areas. Would you be the sewer provider if that area ever needed it? So we've already given our word that we would do that. So then what happens is it comes to us, and I'm going to just get a little off the topic, and we say, if we're going to go beyond our city limit and extend our services, if your area ever wants to be annexed, that you're going to be counted as a yes vote. So it's still within that community. And let me tell you that the city of Bremerton is not actively looking to annex anywhere. I've been on council for 8 years. It's never been a real discussion. Sometimes people will say, why don't we, or should we? But it's nothing that anybody, any tax dollars is going towards making happen. This has gotten a little loose tonight. It's really housekeeping. The court, well, one, please refrain while I'm speaking. Please refrain while I'm speaking. I didn't interrupt you. You're doing it right now.
Point of order. So let's all just, I'm sorry.
I did not direct it at you.
Mr. Camacho, Councilman Goodnow. So, sir, you have the floor. Go ahead, finish.
Now I forgot where I was at because I was interrupted. And we know that that can put people off.
So I'm going to give you the opportunity to come back to your
Thank you.
thoughts. All right. So we have a motion in a second. So Councilmember Coughlin.
Thank you, Council President. I think Councilmember Goodnow nicely clarified a lot of the questions that were outstanding. I think there were one or two more, and this could either be for city attorneys or public works director, is that this ordinance does not eliminate a process the city goes through for considering sewer extension requests, correct? If it's possible, maybe just shortly describe that process when a request comes into the city. Just real briefly, so folks know there is still a process that happens when a request comes to the city, and that, by my understanding, this ordinance is not eliminating that process that city staff and administration and legal go through.
So Chance Bethune, Interim Public Works and Utilities Director. We are approached by different developers and whatnot to provide service. As part of that, they are asked to ask us to say, yes, we can provide, or no, we can't. If we do provide, they do sign a utility or an outside utility user agreement. And as part of that agreement, they agree to be annexed if we so choose to move that way. It doesn't mean they're going to be annexed anytime soon. We have service in lots of areas around the city, the peripheral of the city, and we're not going to annex them if there's no reason for it. Typically, it costs the city more money to do that, so there's no benefit to the city. Our utilities are usually, we're talking wastewater is the most controversial. Water, we have a defined or negotiated service area that doesn't change. So when somebody wants water, if it's within our designated area, we provide water. That's just part of the deal. Does that answer the question?
Perfect, answers mine. Thank you. Thank you, sir, Director.
Okay.
I just want to give opportunity for attorneys as well on the case law that's been asked about. If there's any more specifics you want to give on specific cases, or just re-summarizing the case law that's out there.
I guess I can cite to the cases that nothing in those cases is going to say the city of Bremerton's ordinance is illegal and will be struck down. I think the cases highlight that sewer providers can impose reasonable service conditions on areas where they're the sole provider and hold themselves out as the provider. One of those reasonable conditions can be an OUA that requires the annexation. How the ordinance is currently written, it gives the council the sole and absolute discretion to say no. And as I mentioned, I think that leads to other non-factors being brought to the council and the request for council to say no. So,
thank you for clarifying, and to make a maybe over the top, but let's put an example out there. The city council could pass, an ordinance saying that we're gonna do something to a street in Silverdale in the county. We could pass that ordinance. It doesn't mean that it can take effect, that it's legal, or that if we try to modify that street way outside our jurisdiction, that ordinance would not hold up in court. So, yeah. So I just want to make that clear. I think that was made clear before. We had an ordinance on the books, and this happens time to time, where there's an ordinance on the books, and years go by, and our excellent legal staff review it because there are a lot of ordinances out there. And they find that the ordinance was not written as well as it could have been back in the day with the knowledge they had at hand. And so we're modifying it to make that ordinance correct. The last comment I want to add is a reminder to folks, because I know this is a passionate subject. There's also a lot of misinformation out there. And so what I really want for folks to remember is the city and the county are completely separate jurisdictions and completely separate governments. As was mentioned, it is the county, Kitsap County, that establishes urban growth areas, not the city. It's the county that does zoning and development regulations for county land, which includes urban growth areas. So if you want to see that zoning changed, if you want to see development standards changed in county land, the proper folks to talk to are county commissioners. Meet on Mondays in Port Orchard. It's Commissioners Walters, Root, and Rolfus. They are the ones who do development and zoning standards for county land, not the city. And so there is the option for folks to annex into the city. If you live in a UGA, if you want to see the city of Bremerton have control over the zoning and development standards of that UGA, you can annex into the city, be able to vote for council and mayor. That's the process. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Vice President Revoloski.
I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but we can't do hopscotch annexing in the state of Washington. So that means that the area that the county designated as an urban growth area, and I'm with you, I mean, Ennetai is some beautiful land, and I'm sorry, that's what the county designated as an urban growth area. But so I believe it was 97% of the people who lived between that piece of property and Bremerton city limits said that they were not interested in being annexed. So it's just, I mean, the developer has to pay to put in that sewer line. And the only time anybody would be required to go onto that sewer line is if the health department said your septic system is failing, and then you would have to hook up to a sewer line if you didn't have enough property to put in a separate sewer section, or septic section, I'm sorry. So when we talked about annexation, it's not in the city's best interest to annex undeveloped areas such as the majority of the land east of Trenton Avenue. The annexation that would make sense to build the tax bases to gain the commercial area north of Rydell. That would make sense, but that's not something the county wants to do. So by increasing the tax base, it decreases the tax burden on people who live here. Okay, so I'm getting out in the weeds here, but I just want to make sure you understand that the city does not want to and has any plans to force annexation on the people east of Trenton. But if this development pans out and they build this incredibly expensive sewer line, then in 50 years, if the landowners between the Ennetai development and the city of Bremerton limits wanted to be annexed in, then they would. But we can't, there's no hopscotching. Okay, that used to be the case years ago, but that has changed. So they just have to sign saying that they would if everybody else between them and the city limits wanted to. The city has annexed exactly 6 lots in the past 20 years, And 3 of those lots were owned by the same person, I believe. So that's it. And that was something the landowner requested to be done. The other annexation that was large, I believe it was about 2004, was when a developer requested to annex in the land all the way out to the airport, the Overton annexation. We're not going around trying to annex in yours. And I hope you really work with the county, who has all the jurisdiction, we don't, to try to change your zoning codes, because I understand how important it is to save that pristine property. And I hope you're successful in that.
Councilmember Chamberlain.
Yeah, thank you. This has been a little bit of a crazy meeting today. We had someone come up, try to grab a flag. We've had people yelling at us the whole time and outside of their time. So yeah, it's been a little silly. But this issue isn't silly. Okay. This issue is obviously important to people. There's a lot of passion. There's a lot of heart going into the emotions that are being shared today. So I'm not trying to diminish that at all. And so I have a few follow-up questions. We talked about Attorney Jetty, you mentioned that that things like feasibility studies would not be a permissible reason for us to deny sewer service. Am I wrong or correct in that statement? Based on the interpretation of case law or other precedents set.
Could you require a feasibility study before the, I guess?
Okay. Okay, let me rephrase it. What I heard you say is that, well, what I understand, this eliminates the requirement for a feasibility study. No. Okay, please explain that.
So when it comes to the feasibility study,
Yes.
I guess ultimately what this change does is that the individuals sign a waiver that they won't fight annexation. So if that waiver is signed and that property could be immediately annexed, then the city could just do that.
Okay.
The feasibility study, it does remove the requirement that a property conduct a feasibility study of annexation prior to getting sewer service.
Okay, that's where I'm curious about. That's what I'm curious about. Okay, so it removes the requirement. Did I say it wrong? And I see Attorney Fennell wants to chime in because am I saying it wrong?
No, you're saying it right. I think it's 2 different things. So the feasibility study for the annexation requirement is being moved and replaced with what we have for water, which is the agreement to annex at some time in the future, which I think Vice President Radulowski did a really great job explaining how that works. So instead of having to go out and poll people about annexation, it doesn't do that because it's not going to require that those people annex in or move to force them or anything like that. And so that requirement is removed, similar to like what we have with our water service.
So it doesn't force people to be annexed. It's not saying because you're receiving this sewer service, you are going to be annexed regardless of the original voting it was based on property.
Right. So the person who's getting the service signs an agreement that they won't oppose annexation. It doesn't do anything with the people who are not getting the service or who are neighbors to the property that are getting service.
And that's different than what we have now, or it's the same as what we have now?
So the way that the code's written right now is that if you are in the UGA and want sewer service, you have to be annexed into the city. Then obviously you can get sewer service because you're part of the city, or you have to do a feasibility study. And if it's determined that annexation is not feasible,
and
the council can, in its sole and absolute discretion, decide whether or not to provide that service.
Okay. Do we know the cost of a feasibility study? I mean, how much does it cost the city for a feasibility study?
It's the individual who's requesting the.
The developer pays for the feasibility study, is that correct? Under the code now?
Correct.
Okay, so it doesn't change the delta, so to speak, for us. But what it does do is change, okay. What I think I'm missing from this entire agenda bill is like a presentation. I feel like that's what I'm missing. And I don't need, please don't, no, I don't need to, it's okay, because that's logical. I think, and other people might agree that maybe that's what I'm missing. And if I'm the only one that feels like I'm missing that, I'm happy to make a friendly amendment to postpone this until January. So I'd like to make, please don't, we don't have a lot of time here. I'd like to make a friendly amendment, a motion to postpone this pending a presentation from our city attorney based on the case law, because I do want to understand this. I want to be in support of it wholeheartedly. And I trust our city attorneys. I do not like to hear that people are calling y'all shady, because you are amazing and you do a fantastic job for us. But I'd like more information. So my amendment is to postpone this until January. How do I rephrase this? Is there anybody else who wants to help me wordsmith this? Okay. I'd like to make an amendment to postpone this issue until the January 14th. Is that a council meeting?
Study session.
I'd like to, that's a study session. So the January 14th study session.
Is there a second?
Second.
So before I call the question on that, I would like our city clerk to, I assume you're okay with this motion
So
as
the
our
motion
parliamentarian.
to postpone this item
Yes.
to January 14th,
Study session.
2026.
Yes.
So actually, it should be moved to not the first January council, but maybe the second one, and then automatically it would go to a study session. So you said the 14th would be the 21st.
So the 21st I would like to make, okay, strike my previous motion. I'd like to make a motion to move this vote to January 21st city council meeting, thereby putting it on the January 14th study session.
Do you move to postpone?
Move to postpone
this item
to
January.
It almost sounds like a marriage thing here, but go ahead.
I do.
Move to postpone this item to January 21st. Is that what I'm hearing?
So
21st, 20.
Can I say that here at city council meetings like I can at other meetings? So moved. Yeah.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, so I got an amended motion. Help me out, Ms. Parliamentarian. Do I need to ask for discussion, or I call for the question on the amended?
Discussion.
Okay, so discussion, you're the maker of the motion.
So I don't know that I need to have that much discussion. I think that the folks want more information. I would like more information personally. And it's not because I do or do not support this. I would just like a presentation. And that's all I have to say about this. That's it.
I completely agree. I have not understood any of the explanations that Attorney Jetty has given so far this evening. And I would like to understand it. If our hands are tied, so be it. But I just really don't understand it, and it's late. So I think I totally support your motion, Councillor Chamberlain.
Okay. Other questions or comments? Councilmember Fried. I'll stand up and then I'll count. Councilman Cowell. Go ahead.
I'm fine with postponing it. I don't think it's might bring us a few details, and certainly would give those in attendance information that they're requesting. We can do a more thorough deep dive on it. What I hope doesn't happen is that, oh, you got your wish, because I think that I have been really supportive of the Anatai community, and my district abuts it, on one end. And Councilmember Coughlin, you are still council member, by the way, aren't you? Until just Okay. Um, and I've driven it, and in fact, Michael Simons that's there in the audience, he drove me around, and I think one of the things I said, and I know we're talking about Enitai again and not this ordinance. I'm breaking my own rule, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of stuff that's going to go wrong out there with infrastructure.
So yeah, let's go back to the.
Yeah. So well, so you know, the city isn't begging for it to come over to our responsibility. But thank you for being here, you know, and thank you for making the connection, even though it's not legally connected. I want to respect what you've brought to the table, so I'm fine with it. I hope that we can. I'll talk more about that later. Thank you.
Sure. So what's on the floor is the amended motions. So any other comments? And I actually have a comment here. I've been quiet all this time here, but Councilmember Good. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Coughlin. Go ahead.
No, thanks, Council President. I just wanted to say something for the record, since I won't be here in January, when there were personal accusations made. Without saying specific areas, being guess which one, I don't want to see forested, heavily forested historic areas developed. For the record, I do not. I wish I had direct zoning control over certain areas that were heavily forested in order to not have them zoned the way they are. I don't. But no, I have not received any personal favors or monetary gain or anything from developers. And the accusations are, they're just insane. My goodness. So in fact, in study session, I pushed for this to be on general business and not consent agenda because I know and I respect the passion out there. And I also know there's some misinformation and some is purposeful and some is that this is complicated. Absolutely. This, when you get to multi-jurisdictional law, it does get very complicated. And I do want folks feeling good it's explained well. I feel like I understand it. I feel like it's been explained well to us by our city attorneys on the numerous occasions we've discussed it. That's my personal feeling. And I think it's been explained tonight to folks who are interested and who are listening. So that's how I feel it has been explained multiple times at this point. And so for the motion to postpone, I don't know how else to explain this any differently. I think as Councilmember Goodnow said, at this point, it is housekeeping.
Okay, other comments? Councilmember Goodnow.
Yeah, so I did, I think the word housekeeping is what sent my last remarks off the rails, as they would say. Our city attorneys are doing their job and they're reviewing case law and they're advising us where we could get into trouble. I think we have an excellent city attorney and department. So they review these case laws, the court decisions, they go through all that and they come to us with a recommendation, and that's what they did. And that's like Councilmember Coughlin just said, we felt pretty good about it on Wednesday night. It was almost going to be on the consent agenda, and we decided to move it forward to at least open it up a little bit. There's so much this evening that has been added on to this. I don't think there's any aha things that are going to come. I don't think there's going to be an infographic that's going to make everybody feel better about it. It's actually pretty black and white, pretty simple. And the baseline is that case law has basically said that we cannot, deny things based on certain criteria. So we're just trying to follow that. So I don't support the amendment, but big picture, we can talk about this one.
So I don't support, is it my turn now? Okay. I don't support the amendment at all. And the reasons are, I'm the one that wrote the current ordinance along with our then city attorney. The whole intent of this ordinance was to get developers that were getting sewer services to commit to come into the city. Now, with a recent example, this has turned into a political process to prevent the city from approving something with an urban growth area that the city has an obligation to do. So this ordinance effectively takes the politics out, which you've seen tonight. You have seen the politics from a small group of people. For a jurisdictional issue that belongs with the county, but it clogs up the city council's time and put the city council on the spot on an issue that we don't have control over. As the sole provider of the services, they should be provided the sewer services if they're within the urban growth area. I see no purpose of kicking the can down the road to the next meeting, waiting for the next council member, so then they have to be, look, I was here, I wrote the original one, I understand that people like to talk about legislative intent. Well, I'm here. I won't be here in January. I just told you what the legislative intent is. With that, I call for the question on the amended motion.
For the motion to postpone until January 21st, 2026. Councilmember Rabelowski.
No.
Good now.
No.
Mochler.
Yes.
Chamberlain.
Yes.
Fry.
I gotta go with my head. No.
Coughlin.
No.
Younger.
No.
Motion fails. 5 noes, 2 yeses.
Okay, so now we go back to the main motion, and Ms. Hoover, you please correct me if I mess up on this. So we've already had the main motion made. If there are no other questions or comments from the council, I can call for the question. Seeing none, call for the question. No, go ahead. I'm going to let you go ahead.
Attorney Jetty, will you maybe possibly provide us with a white page, a white paper of an explanation of case law related to this? Is that something that we can ask for? Because not right now,
Okay.
and subsequently, I would like to, I would like to know. I think that's the real crux of the issue here. It's
Okay, but that's not necessarily germane to the motion on. Right, you can ask that afterwards. But, oh, well, I was about to call for the question, but you want to ask a question? Go ahead.
So I asked Attorney Jet for the case law, and he gave me about, I don't know, 6 or 7, which I read them all, and I feel confident that that it's the correct call to give this back to the county. It's not the city's issue, and the ordinance was written in good faith before, but since then, there have been lawsuits against municipalities for not allowing service where it's in a UGA. So this is a UGA. It's not, Bremerton didn't ask for this to be a UGA. So you need to fight the county of Kitsap. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, Councilman Mochler.
Thank you, Council President Younger. So there is a possibility that we will be sued if we don't provide, because we are the designated sewer service provider to all the UGAs. There is a possibility that we would be sued if we had to ask for council approval.
There is the possibility that the council would be sued. The way this is written, that it's in the council's sole and absolute discretion.
So the council will be sued.
The city.
Okay. So has that, and that has happened in the, I'm not asking you to recap all the 6 or 7 case laws, but that's happened. People have launched because it required council approval. Cities were successfully sued.
No.
Okay. Because I'm going to agree with Roy Runyon here. I don't see any handicap to having council approval on this. Can you tell me what is
I think I've explained it multiple times, but I will try to explain it once again.
I will be thanking
Council, it currently as written, council has the sole and absolute discretion. We've seen now that the city of Bremerton has been approached to consider things such as potential neighborhood character, aesthetic, and environmental reasons to deny the sewer service. Under the case law, those would not be appropriate reasons to be denying sewer service when the city is the sole service provider and holds itself out as the provider of sewer service in that area. So, in an attempt to fix that sole and absolute discretion language, this is what was proposed.
Well, this is kind of not good for us to, like, even if the developer, a developer, like not somewhere gorgeous like Energy anywhere, even if a developer is paying for the sewer to be laid, right? The developer assumes all those costs. That's correct. Does the developer assume the maintenance costs, or are those to be paid by the or those are covered by the users? Is that correct, Director Riley? So in effect,
yes,
we have to do this. Is that correct? Or do we have a choice?
Yes, I think as I said, the way that the language is currently written, I think the city would be liable for a lawsuit.
Well, I'm not going to use bad language at this time, but I think that's unfortunate. Okay. I have a million more questions, but I'm not going to ask them. If our hands are tied, our hands are tied.
All right, call for the question.
Councilmember Coughlin,
Yes.
Robolowski,
Yes.
Goodnow,
Yes.
Mochler,
Abstain.
Chamberlain,
Abstain.
Fry,
Yes.
Younger.
Yes.
Motion carries 5 yeses, 2 abstentions.
Okay, got one item left.
General business item 5A, ordinance number 5533 to amend ordinance number 5503, establishing the city of Bremerton's fiscal year 2025 through 2026 budget as amended by ordinance number 5517. Presenter is Director Mike Riley.
Welcome, Director Riley. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, public, for waiting for my topic, and thank you for staying. And thank you for entertaining me in my apparel that I have on this evening. So I'll keep the ears off. Yes, I am Ralph. So from Christmas Story. So what's in front of you tonight? We presented last week in Council. This is something we do every year. These are previously approved items that have been taken to Council throughout the year that have been adopted through an agenda bill for different action. But this formalizes the adoption to amend the 25 budget just to true up the budgetary request throughout the year. So in the packet, there's a multitude of items that have been previously presented to Council. There are just a handful of what we call new budgetary items, but even those items have been brought before Council. Just to summarize what those are, we have some money being transferred to the Fire Capital Fund. That's for the fireboat. That's the match for the fireboat that our fire chief was successful in port security grant. So that's the match component. Previously approved, this is the formalization of that. We also see in here, and actually I think in attendance tonight, we have our pro tem judge in attendance tonight. Want to acknowledge him, but this is just to formalize the pro tem contract with Judge Armstrong fulfilling the duties of the court judge this year. Outside of that, these items have been presented previously to Council, and it's here just to true up the end of your budget required by law. Just a couple highlights. One thing in the let me go back to another screen. You'll see here after the estimated ending fund balance for budget after the amendment is about $7.9 million. But just want to remind folks from the budget workshops we had and the budget adoption we had a few weeks ago. That is budget. Actuals we're projecting to be actual is about $14 million in
in the fund, in the general fund, about 81 days of operation for actuals trued up for our estimates for year end. So with that, I'll pause for question.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does any member of the public wish to comment on it?
Roy Runyon, District 6, former finance chair of the city council. But so just to simplify this, Director Riley, does this amendment constitute a net increase or decrease to the budget? And that's one question. Also, I'm concerned about the reserves in the general fund. I mean, we're holding, that's our money, that's taxpayer money. I don't need to remind you folks about the federal government shutdown. You know what it did to our small businesses? Talk to the restaurant folks. You've got a small business owner on the council, but they lost half of their revenue. They may not recover. I know you're all happy that we have the car dealerships and is a major source of sales tax revenue. But we're going to see a hollowing out of our business districts. They are struggling. So justify it to them, not to me. Justify to them why the reserve is so high, why we're way exceeding our goals, our minimums. That's not your money. It belongs to the citizens, belongs to the business owners. So by approving this amendment, you are in fact codifying the acceleration of the destruction of our small business community in the city. I'm very concerned about that. Hope you think about it. But just another thing, just maybe a housekeeping thing, is we've got in the packet, the way what I'm looking at, 2 pages. So you've got the actual, so you've got the ordinance, the agenda bill, then you've got the ordinance, page 1, page 2, and then none of the other pages are labeled. There are no page numbers. In the packet, the PDF, I believe it's 361, page 361 of 396. So if you want to refer to it. And this is where it refers to the ending fund balances on the general fund. We are exceeding 8.5%. And it sounds like we're going to really overshoot that. And so just remember that. Think about our small businesses and talk to the small business owners. Don't take my word for it. Go around to the restaurants. Ask them how they're doing, how they do through the shutdown. We may see another shutdown coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Runyon. I will say that this is the first time we've heard a perspective of you have too much money in your ending fund balance. So I appreciate the comment. And I don't know, other than to add to that, Mr. Riley, could you just explain what best practices are considered?
Sure. Yeah. As we discussed during the budget process, 60 days of reserves is best practice to be in your general fund. That's 16.67%. The budget that we adopted, again, I flushed those. I believe we adopted 13.2% ending fund balance for the end of 26, and that was I think 48 days. And so currently, as we anticipate to end the year, we're just about 22%. That's with attrition. We talked a lot about attrition. Right. We budget 100% of our FTEs, but that takes into account our turnover. So, okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Mr. Erickson, could you check online?
There are no hands raised online.
Okay, anybody have a motion for me?
I move to approve ordinance number 5533 of the City Council of the City of Bremerton, Washington, amending ordinance number 5503, establishing the City of Bremerton's fiscal years 2025 through 2026 budget as amended by ordinance number 5517.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. Council Vice President Ribowski.
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Councilmember Goodnow.
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the rest of the council? Councilman Coughlin.
Well, when we established the 2025-2026 budget last year, I was the lone no vote because of concerns over the amount of reserves that we'd be ending up with. and other issues. And so I asked this to be brought to general business for transparency. I don't normally be consent agenda, but I brought it to general business because I wanted to make sure those issues keep being highlighted. And the fact that there are items on here that were not previously approved by council as well. And I think it's important to make sure that those were stated, which they were. But there are a number of issues on here which council did approve, which I voted to approve. As you can see in there. And so for that reason, I'm voting yes to this amendment. Because I think it accurately reflects what the council had already passed this year and approve of the increases that are in here. But I still have vast concerns over the budget as a whole that I know this council will have to address next year.
Okay, thank you. Call for the question.
Councilmember Goodnow,
Yes.
Mochler,
No.
Chamberlain,
Yes.
Fry,
No.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Robolowski,
Yes.
Younger.
Yes.
Motion carries 5 yeses, 2 nos.
Thank you. So earlier this evening, the mayor informed me that he would not be able to make the mayor's report if the council meeting got fairly late, and it did. So lucky you, Judge Armstrong. First of all, I want to apologize, sir, for how long this took. However, I just want to, I think you understand, but we decided as a council to have business meeting items first, and then presentations from the mayor, the council, etc., at the end to take care of business.
So you agreed to clear everybody out?
Yeah. So,
it's okay.
If it matters anything, most of those people are residents of Kitsap County and not residents of the city of Bremerton. However, sir, you asked to speak to us on a study session, and I relayed that our study session last week was packed. You willingly obliged to speak before the council on our last meeting. I'm grateful for that, sir. It's an honor to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir, Mr. President, city council members, the city attorney here, Mr. Riley. Work with you, work with everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing me to work with you and with the citizens of Bremerton this year. I first want to give credit where credit is due. Judge Flood is no longer here, but had Judge Flood not made me her presiding judge pro tem, I would not have had this opportunity. So I just want to make sure that credit is due there. As such, unbeknownst to me, when someone was needed to step into this position, I was asked. I would not have this opportunity, but for the judge. A couple of things. So, therapeutic court was established. That's one thing I want to talk about briefly. To assist members of the community who found themselves on the other side of the law, due to chemical dependency, other peripheral issues, because even if someone catches a charge, they're still citizens of Bremerton. So, therapeutic court is here to assist those folks. The goal is twofold. The goal is to graduate, have the charge dismissed, and we have this therapeutic court every 2 weeks, actually every week, and I discuss those two important things. The one is about the charges being dismissed, because we all know with the number of people looking for work, if you have blemishes on your record, employers are looking for reasons to disqualify certain people. If you have a blemish on your record, you're pretty much disqualified. The second thing that's important as well is graduating from therapeutic court with sobriety. So hopefully, not hopefully, but graduate from therapeutic court, you're going to be sober, because there's questions about that. Your time is going to be extended. The real team is a resource here that's been valuable. They're always there at our meetings, just community resources. This year we have held 2 resource fairs at the Marvin Williams Resource Center, and providers came, set up tables, made themselves available for communities in need, dealt with housing, chemical dependency, mental health treatment, etc. This was a part of therapeutic court. And again, I've got to thank Judge Flood for establishing therapeutic court, because this has served to serve the community of Bremerton and serve those individuals who are suffering from, substance abuse issues, mental health issues, or whatnot. Now, there were discussions with the city. Specifically, I met with city attorney Fennell about this. I'm sorry, every time it's Fennell. Every time about the effectiveness of community court. However, even with those concerns, the prosecutors are working with the public defense with regards to getting referrals to therapeutic court, because there is a need even at the municipal court level, because again, even though we're not talking about felonies and the like, if you have that small blemish on your record, it's going to be problematic for you. Also, we're about assisting with resources, but we're also about accountability. We hold our therapeutic court members to account of their actions. We graduated 3 people from therapeutic court in the spring and summer. We graduated 2 more yesterday. So the program is a success, and those charges were dropped, and those people are sober. There was an instance where one of our members had a positive drug test, and he swore up and down he didn't do it. He had garnered enough credibility from us to have us question this, and he went so far as to say, I'll take a hair follicle test because I'm not guilty of using. And he did, and he came back negative, and he graduated yesterday. So I think this court, therapeutic court, continues to serve an important purpose. Okay, so and one thing about the community, I'm a high school basketball official. So last night I was officiating, and I actually past weekend I was officiating, and I officiated, of all people, with the owner of Casey Bell Bonds, right? So listen, who would know? Small world. So he's like, I told him who I was, and he's like, "Are you serious? We've been getting our bonds exonerated and getting our money back, and this is going back years." So that just tells you that what we've done this year, we've been able to turn things around in the community. The community has noticed. Let's see, the most important thing I'm proud of is this. I was at the Marvin Williams Recreation Center, looking at over the spot for therapeutic court resource fair, and I ran into the principal there, and I had this idea that I ran across the principal with. I had an idea to have students come down to the courthouse and shadow me on the bench. She agreed, and as a result, every day, almost give or take a couple days here and there, since October the 6th, I've had a high school student from the Catalyst School that's right atop the Marvin Williams Resource Center. I've had the principal walks them down to the school, to the courthouse. I take them into my office. I talk to them about the arraignment process, talk to them about the charges and everything. They got a permission slip from their parents. They come down. I talk to them about this. We go upstairs. I bought a couple of student robes for them. I created an oath of office for a student pro tem judge. I swear those students in. I robe them with a robe, and they take the bench with me. And we sit on Zoom and take care of our in-custody calendar. We then leave. I give them a frame of their oath that they sign. And I sign as a presiding judge, and I walk them back down to school, meanwhile talking to them about their goals, their likes, their dislikes, what they like doing. That has been the highlight of my time here in Bremerton, giving back to the community. And I hope that the judge coming in, or other judges I've explained this to in Kitsap County, will follow that lead. The last thing I want to talk about and highlight is my staff. This year has been rough. Starting in, coming in, there was a lot of things going on, but we had staff that were outstanding. Destiny Joe was one of my staff and my clerks. We had a really good staff member with regards to clerking in the courtroom leave the court. Destiny Joe jumped in with dynamite. She became basically the main clerk with no problems. We did not skip a beat. When I had let go of our previous court administrator, Carla Driscoll, our former court administrator with Wahkiakum County, she stepped in and kept us afloat. I mean, she was a court administrator of a small jurisdiction, and she stepped in, and there were many holes that she needed to fill, and she kept us afloat. We had another employee, Rachel Knighton. She worked at the front desk, and she was promoted to legal tech 2. The learning curve is steep when you leave the front desk and you're actually clerking in the courtroom. That learning curve is high, but she stepped in, and before you know it, she was by herself up there clerking with me in the courtroom. The heartbeat of the court is Sarah Nettleson. She sits at the front desk, and she sees people who come at the court. She's the face of the court. She sees people who are angry, people who are frustrated, people who are happy, people calling her names, but she serves with a smile, and she always serves with a smile. Those people have been here the entire time. We just are revamping our probation office, and we just hired Alexis Reeves, and she's revamping that office. She's going to be a great hire. Also, Andrew Blaisdell, he's been great. He's jumped in as as legal tech too as well. But last but not least, I had to get rid of our court administrator because of things that were going on, and hired another court administrator. She's here tonight. She's going to present really quickly to you folks. Ms. Hakapagi. I can tell you, to be totally honest, I've known a lot of people who know their jobs, as you do too. We deal with professionals every day. I have never met a person who knows their job as well as she knows hers. As a result, over the last 6 months, this court has had a tremendous turnaround with regards to different areas that we were in a deficit, and we're not in a deficit anymore. So you're going to be in good hands moving forward with that court administrator. But again, I want to just thank you. And last but not least, I should have mentioned this first. You got to have support from your family if you're going to drive every day from Lakewood to take this position. And my wife is here tonight, and she's been supporting me this entire time. So I'll give her a round of applause too, because you got to have that, right? But I'll bring my court administrator. But I want to thank you folks tremendously for allowing me to serve as citizen because it's been a tough job. There's been some ups and downs. There's been staff shortages. We've had to let people go. We brought people in, and the court is going to be much better in a better place, I do believe, based on the work we've done this year. So I want to thank you folks for allowing me to work with the citizens of Bremerton. So thank you.
Thank you, Judge. And do we have a presentation? Our court administrator, are you coming forward? So thank you.
He's going to, Ms. Babaki is going to.
Aloha kako. My name is Mihaka Paki. If you would, Judge is going to hand out these. I'm going to wrap that up at the very end. I'll try to make it quick, but if you could put it face down for a second, that's just going to be the last thing I'm going to chat about real quick. I'm very grateful to be here. I did watch the fall of Bremerton from afar, the court, excuse me, from afar, being an existing court administrator. I served 2 terms as a Southwest Regional Director for the state of Washington, training court administrators. And so I am one of those people that will retain information, but the most important thing about getting that information is sharing it. And so my biggest mission in this court, so long as I choose to be here, which I am choosing to be here, is I'm going to share as much information as I can with this staff and try to get this. Judge did amazing at holding everyone together, keeping everything together, keeping our doors open, and now I get to do it, and we're going to keep it that way. So just real briefly, some of the things that we did have to go through when I first got here. Quickly made my lists of the deficits that Judge had just discussed. Our bond forfeitures, exonerations had not been done as far back as 2022. And so that was one of the first things I did. I mean, it was a million things all at once. And so the first 2 months were a blur. I'm actually kind of shocked how long it's been. But yes, we did I went through every single case, checked every disposition. I nailed out hundreds. I got a little scared with finance because I'm also sitting bail back. And I'm like, I don't even know how much we really have because I'm very new here and I don't know exactly the checks and balances. I can say that the bank account had not been reconciled for I'm not sure how long. I mean, it looked like somebody had been trying to reconcile the court's bank account in February of 2024, but wild. That is my forte. That's my jam. I'm an auditor, 20 plus years in accounting. This is my home. And so working with Mike with that has been amazing. A really good communication. Working with building relationships, trying to get to know our prosecutors, our defense, our city attorney. We have to have a solid relationship. I did try to come and meet you guys, by the way. My first day here, that was probably the one day where I felt like I actually had time because I didn't have my orientation until 2. So I had no city access. So I tried, but it's nice to finally meet you guys. Expenditures, the voucher system. It was really sad to see. And this is what happens when you have a court administrator that knows a lot of information and they leave. And then others are forced to kind of step up and then they leave and then another and another. That I had noticed a consistent string of bills being paid incorrectly, improper fund codes were being used. And when I chatted with Carl, who had stepped up, it was, well, I just copied the information that I was given. I'll do my best, but I will find those. And we have corrected much. I didn't have to call Mike. Sorry, Mike, I have to pay. I don't know if I can say how much it was. It was an extreme bill because we hadn't paid security for 10 months. I called the owner and I said, why are you working with us? I would not show up to protect a court that wasn't paying me. I mean, personally. I'm sorry, I will just try to wrap it up.
going over all our warrants. I did a massive warrant reconciliation, working with BPD prosecutors. We got all those cleaned up, numerous warrants that were entered and not removed, which does opens us up for liability. All that is great now. And okay, I know we're not a revenue generating entity, but I know that's what you city guys like to hear. You can go and turn that paper around. Okay. So from what I saw, the projected revenue for 2025 was $603,829.13. I told you I'll find things. I do collections, I do the audits, and so far, right now, from January to November, we have made $1,605,487.56. $500,000 was just in the last 2 months. And that is something that I want to teach and train, because I can't do it by myself. I'll be honest. I'm doing at least 10 hours a day. And then I go home and I lay in my bed and I do collections for 2 hours. And my kids, I'm a single mom, I can't keep that up. And they'll come in and they'll take my laptop away and they'll tuck me in. And so, sorry, that was wild. Anyway, we have seen 174.45% increase, and we haven't even counted December yet. So for as long as I'm here, I will need more staff. I will ask you that in the future, because I can't do it all. I will train them, and we'll keep this ship not only floating, but we will serve the city of Bremerton and help fulfill our civic duty as well. And that was pretty much all I was going to say.
Thank you very much. And hey, Judge Armstrong, looks like you're leaving Judge Weaver-elect with a good place to be, taking over. So thank you very much, both of you, for your service to the city. So thank you very much. All right, folks, now we're going to turn to council member reports. And I'm trying to figure out, before I turn to where I'm supposed to turn to, Councilmember Mockler, I think tonight, I'd like to recognize, so I'm retiring, and we also have another council member whose term is expiring at the end here as well. And I'd like to present to our council member Coughlin a plaque. It says, in appreciation of his service, leadership, and meaningful contributions as city council member January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2025, presented by the Bremerton City Council this day of December 17th, 2025. Thank you, Jeff, for your service.
Thank you.
So with that, Councilmember Mockler, since I just gave him the plaque, I think it might be an appropriate time to let him go ahead and speak first. That's okay. So go ahead.
Happy to do my council report first, and thank you for that, Council President. Goodness, I've just 4 years has flown by. I can tell you that. What I want to say is I've really enjoyed my 4 years here, and I just want to thank the residents of District 3 and folks in the city for letting me represent them, for being up here. I really just want to give thanks tonight, and first and foremost, thanks to residents for speaking up over the years. One of my goals joining council was to increase citizen participation. I think that's been very successful. I know it's also come with some increased challenges that are being worked on, but I'm really glad to see folks speaking up, even when it's something I don't want to hear. That's one I need to hear it. And so I really just appreciate folks out there who keep advocating for positive change, and I just hope that can be done in a constructive and positive and collaborative way. That's how things really get done. But thank you, folks. Thanks to our incredible city staff, really for tireless work and dedication. This is working for municipality is not an easy line of work to choose. Many positions out there come with far less scrutiny, criticism, and a whole lot more pay. And so for folks to choose to work for the city, that is really a choice that I respect the heck out of, and really appreciate everything that's done every day, and so much that happens that folks aren't even aware of, that just keeps the city working, and folks do their job here so well to keep the city moving. And so just thank you for all our city staff. And there's a rule in thanking people of
if you start to thank more than one, you better thank everybody, and I don't have the time for that. But there's one staff member in particular I wanted to really call out, and that's our city attorney. You, Kylie Fennell, have just done such an amazing job. It has been an incredible pleasure to work with you over these last 4 years. I don't know where we would be without you. As a city, as a body, you have been so collaborative. You've stepped up in so many challenging situations. You have provided fantastic advice, and honestly, I think the taxpayers of the city deserve to know you have saved them. I won't even try to put a dollar amount on it, but really a lot of taxpayer money. You have an incredible asset to the city, and I just wanted to call you out for so many times going above and beyond, and just doing your job in the most excellent way possible and navigating challenging circumstances. And you are the office space equivalent of, I have 8 bosses, Bob, working for both administration and council and all the staff members. I think you take the cake for number of bosses in the city, and you have handled that with extraordinary grace and ability. And so just thank you for doing that. And to Judge Armstrong, thank you for stepping up here. I know you stepped out of the room, but it's really encouraging to hear the change in the courts with Judge Armstrong recently, and I hope that trend continues for our city. And then finally, I just want to wrap up some personal acknowledgement for folks on council. You have all been a pleasure to get to know, to get to work with. I'll still be here. I'll still see you. But Councilmember Chamberlain, I wanted to call out how much I appreciated your passion and your insight on every single issue and the lived experience you have brought to this position. You have never been afraid to speak your mind, and I so admire that and appreciate that, because you have asked so many good questions over the years, and I think challenged all of us, and me in particular, and I know that I'm a better person for those challenges and for those difficult conversations, and I just thank you for that. And for Councilmember Fry, you have been and will continue to be an incredible advocate for your district, for parks in that district.
Just one.
Just one park, singular, one. But your thoughtfulness on planning in the future and making sure things are connected and moving the city forward, it's been a pleasure to work with you. Your collaboration has been just incredible, and you were really all about process, about creating a good process, and then trusting that process. And so I trust that you will trust the process that you've established. And those in particular order, but Councilmember Younger, gosh, I'm so grateful for your leadership in this final year, and for your 20+ years of service to the city. And you're not just the longest serving member in city history. You're also the most effective I've seen, and you haven't just sat around for 20 years. Folks could do that. You haven't. You have really thoughtfully created so many ordinances that are on our books. You've always looked to do the right thing. You are an incredible listener. I've appreciated your advice and mentorship over the past several years. And again, I don't know where the city would be without you and your dedication for the past 20. You've really been a steady influence and a guiding hand. And I know the city's gonna sorely miss you. But whoever roped you into whatever happens in Las Vegas will appreciate the heck out of you. I know. You say you're not, but I know you get roped into something. You're doing an amazing job there. So, oh gosh. Councilmember Mockler, I have so enjoyed getting to know you over these past 4 years. And I mean that. I have not met anybody who is more passionate and dedicated, and you have brought a wealth of knowledge from your past professional experiences, and you do your homework. My goodness. You talked earlier tonight about pros plan and redlining. You as a council member have really done your homework, your deep dives, your due diligence, and you have represented the heck out of your district and advocated for that. And that advocacy, that passion, I think everybody should be grateful for. Everyone district should be grateful that you do that for them. And again, I'm gonna miss working side by side with you every day. I don't know, I'll see you around. Councilmember Goodnow, I'm still planning to volunteer for the museum. I'll be on the board. I'll see you a lot next door. Also so enjoyed getting to know you more at this level.
in addition to just working for two organizations side by side downtown. You also bring a wealth of knowledge, city operations, not only your time here, but working for the city. And what I've most appreciated about you is your honestly incredible ability. I'm always jealous of to take what has been a long discussion by folks on council, folks in the public, and to so succinctly and accurately distill down, this is the issue, this is what folks are saying, these are what these folks are saying, this is where everyone is, and this is really the path forward. Hope you continue to, I know you'll continue to exercise that in your next term here, and that is so needed when things get hot and heavy and discombobulated. You always bring everyone right back to the focus, and really appreciate that. And finally, Council Member Robolowski, I never told you this, but when you first got elected, and I didn't know you well, I was a little scared. Yeah, I should be. And what I have come to so appreciate you, because part of what made me scared, I think, is sometimes when I dealt with you before your council member, you were so direct. What I've come to appreciate most is that directness. I don't know anybody who was more forthright, who was more honest, to the point, and I have come to really appreciate your collaborative nature, your willingness to compromise. You have gone above and beyond to really, I think, establish amazing working relationships with city staff. You have dedicated such an incredible amount of time to this position, and you bring a wealth of knowledge from living in the city, from having public works experience along others, working in municipalities. Continually impressed by the inside operations of the city that you know, and again, your time and dedication. I am so grateful for your service, because it's it can be easy to sit up here and just put in a couple hours a week, and you really go far above and beyond that. I'm just incredibly grateful for your leadership and your dedication as well. So I guess what I'm trying to say in my final words is to every single person up here, every single person in the city, but especially the folks up here, I am so grateful for all the counsel you've given me over the years. Good evening.
Thank you. So we have this rivalry. I like to do dad jokes as well, but you know what? I'm going to refrain. I'm not going to do a dad joke tonight. No. So that's tempting. Councilmember Mockler, go ahead. No, you can take as long as you want.
I've timed this to 1 minute and 43 seconds. Okay. So after almost 4 years of working with you, persnickety, quarrelsome, dedicated, hardworking, really, I'm very grateful for you. And so I'm going to read this poem and then stop. So To Be of Use by Marge Piercy. The people I love the best jump into work head first without dallying in the shallows and swim off with sure strokes almost out of sight. They seem to become natives of that element. The black sleek heads of seals bouncing like half-submerged balls. I love people who harness themselves and ox to a heavy cart, who pull like water buffalo with massive patience, who strain in the mud and the muck to move things forward, who do what has to be done again and again. I want to be with people who submerge in the task, who go into the fields to harvest and work in a row and pass the bags along. We're not parlor generals and field deserters, but move in a common rhythm when the food must come in or the fire be put out. The work of the world is common as mud. Botched, it smears the hands, crumbles to dust. But the thing worth doing well done has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident. Greek amphoras for wine or oil, Hopi vases that held corn, are put in museums, but you know they were made to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry, and a person for work that is real. Happy Hanukkah, happy Christmas, happy whatever else you're celebrating.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Goodnow.
I don't have a report, but I just want to say thank you to Jeff. you're so smart, so analytical. It's been a real asset having you here, whether I agreed or not with a particular issue. It was, I really respect the effort and you put in. And then Eric, I don't even know where to start, but you've been such a great role model, you know, to help navigate this. I'm losing my voice. It's emotions. It's not my cough. Anyways, I just want to thank you.
Vice President Radlowski.
Well, it's been a really fun 2 years. And I mean that sincerely. And I've learned a lot from everybody here. And I have a little plaque for you, Eric.
So earlier I got one from the mayor, but I didn't bring in my head that I would get one from the council too. So
This is from us, all 6 of us. So it's really important.
Absolutely.
So in appreciation of your service, leadership, and meaningful contributions as a city council member, January 1st, 2014 to December 31st, 2025. And this is presented by us, the Bremerton City Council, December 17th, 2025. We really appreciate you, and I really appreciate all you've taught me.
Well, thank you. I'm first of all, I'm grateful, but the years are off. But it's okay. That's okay. That was in your label maker.
Yeah.
You can use the branding iron.
That's right. So the council gave me, so no one knows this, I'm a woodworker, and so they gave me a nice branding iron, which I like the plaques and all that stuff, but I have lots of plaques. I will use the branding iron to mark my goods, so I appreciate everything. So go ahead, you still have the floor.
Okay, well, I don't have any big long speech to make. I really appreciate both Eric and Jeff, and I'm going to miss having both of you on council working with us. And Eric, I'm going to be in Vegas in January, so I can give you a wave. But Jeff, you're sticking around, so I'll be calling you for advice a lot. So everybody, I hope you all have a great holiday season, and maybe for a couple of days we'll have peace on earth. Who knows?
Councilor Fry.
We're a good group of people, all of us, even the bunny over there, the rabbit over there. It's really a pleasure and an honor to work with all of you. And President Younger, you helped me self-identify as a centrist. I didn't realize, I thought I was a left-wing, liberal, and I got on here and I had more in common with Eric Younger than I have with, some other people on this council as far as our thought process goes. So I've appreciated that, and I've appreciated your steadfast leadership and your calm manner. I've called you Yoda in the past. I will continue to refer to you that way. I have a little Yoda present for you. Jedi Knights have their own pins, so I don't know if you own one. That's not a comfortable question to ask. And I was going to ask Christina to come up and pin you, but she's not here, so she can do that later.
Right.
But yes, you are officially Yoda and a Jedi Knight as of right now.
Oh, thank you. So we'll all want to see what's in here. Right.
I tried to buy him golf socks.
Oh, there we go. I will use these. They're Yoda socks.
They're Yoda socks, and then there is a Star Wars Jedi pin somewhere in that bag. Either that or it disappeared. I'll have to go look for it. There it is. Okay.
And
so now
you can see this. It's a Star Wars pin, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah.
wow. And for Jeff Coughlin, you know, you came into my life before council, and you'll stay in my life after council. And we both love Bremerton. We all love Bremerton. That's what we all need to remember, is that we all love Bremerton. And we're all trying our best to make it a better place. That's what it comes down to. We all have our different perspectives. You know, many of were shared tonight. And I'm glad we're ending on this note tonight. I wish that the folks that spoke earlier were here, because yes, I see you, Michael. Some of you are here. I learned a long time ago in advocacy, and I didn't learn it really well because I still do it all the time. But this is what I try to do. I try to figure out where the line in the sand is. You know, whatever conflict there is, there's a line. And if I want to change it, then I have to go up to that line and I have to push it. I have to push it and try to move it. But if I step across that line, I'm going to get knocked back. And it's going to take me a long time to get up to that line again. And so for my fellow advocates, it's something that I work on. It's something I have to remind myself of always. But when you cross that line, you damage your mission. You are not respecting your work when you cross the line. And it's not even our work. We don't own it. We're just stewards of it for a while. So I'm going to try this year not to cross the line, but y'all are going to let me know as soon as I do that. So I'll be fine. And happy holidays, everybody. Eric, best wishes, truly. And thank you.
Councilmember Chamberlain.
I am so glad you guys are leaving. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, okay? Just kidding. Okay, no, I'm kidding. Okay, this is the part where I get to say everything I miss about all y'all, but Eric, you actually were, and I wrote this on your card, that you like, and you've seen me over on the other side. I thought you'd be like enemy number one.
So rumor has it I'm a conservative. Go ahead.
But you know, that's right. And so I think that maybe I have a higher tolerance for hearing everything coming from that direction, because I think I used to fling it from that direction as well. So I think you really relish me being over here and getting some of this. I think there's a party that likes that, because I did, you know, and it's interesting being on the other side, and having to navigate populist movements, and having to decipher what's in the best interest of the city. Are we really getting the full picture of the people? How do we appreciate the freedom of speech and incorporating public recognition and public comment? How do we do that and also still have order? And so, I appreciate your leadership in this. It's been difficult. And so thank you for your leadership at the end of the year here and helping to try to navigate it. We'll see what next year brings. But I don't think you're enemy number one anymore. Maybe like number 3, number 4. No, I appreciate you. And to Jeff Coughlin, I came into council with. I feel like that. I feel like you're always going to be like a brother to me. And I think we've had some like sibling rivalry along the way. And and I think what I miss most is there's so many times in study sessions where I've like you and I have looked at each other and we've had this like, we can read each other like, wait, that doesn't sound right. Wait a minute. Should we say something? And that I don't have that connection. I love all of you, but I don't have that thing with anybody else in this working relationship. But it sounds like Christy Camarada is going to save the day on everything. So I'm looking forward to her being here. And I thought that was going to be bad. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic with 5 women on council, and so I'm looking forward to that. But also, I'm really going to deeply miss y'all. I think I might miss the dad jokes too. So yeah, oh, I'm gonna miss. All right, I love you both. I love everybody here. Happy Merry Festivus stuff thing. Thank you.
So Festivus is a reference to Seinfeld, and people that are maybe a little bit younger than you do not know what that means. A lot of people don't watch Seinfeld that are younger. Yeah. No, not a younger reference. No dad jokes. And first of all, a heartfelt thank you to the rest of the council for the kind words. So for the record, I started with City Council in April of 2001. What happened was I was in District 8 at the time. We had 9 districts back then. And the incumbent, David Farr, left because he married Judge Laurie, and they moved to a different district. So I applied, and I think during my retirement ceremony this afternoon, you saw it, I applied. It was an open process. Anybody that wanted to be council member, just go ahead and apply. And at the time, supposedly the council had already conspired to pick someone else, and then supposedly I came up, and I guess I impressed them enough that their chosen one didn't get selected, and I did. So then I ran for the unexpired terms. That makes sense. For the following 2 years, I won that, and then my son, the greatest thing that ever happened in my life, right after I was married my wife. But anyway, he was born, and I decided not to be on council for a while. And I tried to get back on council after so many years, and I lost. So I know what it's like to lose an election, and it's not, that sucks. It really does. You put all your effort into it. I ran against Will Moppin, and he got more votes than me. That's life, right? That's not how I took it when it happened. But yeah, that's, no, I took my lumps. Then I got on in 2012, and I've been here ever since. I was fortunate enough to be council president 5 years in a row, and that was the most enjoyable time I had on council. I really realized, and my wife knew this all along, I like to be in control. I do, and so then, and I thought I got a lot of stuff done. And I guess I'm patting myself on the back, and I apologize if I'm coming across that way. But then the subsequent 4 years, we had to run the council presidents, and I was fairly quiet. I would just listen, and I didn't want to criticize any of my fellow council presidents that succeeded me because I had all this experience, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of, unless you called on me, I didn't really say much. Maybe you would look at me, and I go, okay. And I always, my MO is to listen and just hold back and then kind of soak it all in and then come up with something. But this year I appreciated when council members said, hey, Eric, would you like to be council president 1 month last year? And that meant more to me than you probably ever know, because I had to revisit that. So I appreciate that more than I needed that more than you needed me to be a council president this year. So I appreciate that very much. It's a good way to wrap it all up. And 17 years and 3 quarters, more than enough time on council. Appreciate it. It made me a better person. I highly recommend anybody that wants to be on city council to throw your hat in and run. It's not easy. You may lose. You may have to deal with losing. Oh, I'm sorry, there wasn't an obvious reference, but I appreciate you raising your hand. We have someone that ran, but that wasn't meant to be a slight. And I think you understand. Try it out. You're going to get more out of this than you. Yeah, there's going to be heartaches. There's going to be issues, and we had plenty of them when I was on council. But in the end, I want to trade it for the world. It was a great experience. So I want to thank staff for all their support. I want to thank the mayor. When I was council president those 5 years, we went through a lot of stuff, and I was talked to him earlier this afternoon how we would be on weekly conference calls, Mayor Wheeler, myself, and Roger Libervich, the city attorney, just walking through these scenarios, and we had protests in the street. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that was going on, but it was an interesting experience. I want to close with a quote, and then it's from a book, and I'm not, my wife will attest, she's writing a book, and I haven't read it yet, but it's a good book too, so I'll get to read it now that I'm retiring. It's from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, I think we know where we're going, but I'm going to say the quote, and that's how I'm going to end it, but I don't want you to go Google it and see what it references to. I'm going to tell you what it references to, so you don't say, oh, is that what he really meant? Because, yes, I am a sarcastic SOB, there's no doubt about that. But this quote basically thanks for the planet's resources while escaping destruction. I am not implying that the city of Bremerton is going to destruct. So don't take that interpretation in mind. So I want to conclude my role as council president with the following quote. So long, and thanks for all the fish. Good night, folks.